I've tried to convince you that developing nations are the most important stakeholder in this debate, yet they completely strawman our entire push on why they're negatively affected and why they're taken advantage of. 2 points of clash for the House today. First, will this actually improve the general health of our society? Second, will this look like more efficiency on their side of the House? So, what have they told us on the first point of clash? First, they wanted to bring in the idea that there's going to be a much faster response. This means that more people are going to take vaccines, more people will take medications. This means that the general public will have better health. Okay, why is this wrong? First of all, they don't even engage with the idea that these failed medications are actually have a very significant damage on the stakeholders within today's debate. That looks like marginalized communities, that looks like the general society, it looks like everybody. Second of all, we have to be able to understand that those few percentages between 90 to 95 are extremely significant. I mean, if you look at it just mathematically, if 1 million people have to receive this medication and it only works 90% of the time, that means 100,000 people are negatively affected, they have side effects, they could also probably even die because it was unregulated, because it was not tested. These are the sorts of gambling that we have to, like the AF wants to be able to engage with in order to have like a supposed, like somehow, possibly by luck, that there might be a positive benefit. But at the end of the day, what you're doing is you're gambling lives of so many people, millions of people. This is not what we want. We don't want increased efficiency, but it means that like millions of people's lives are critically at risk. Third of all, they never tell us or engage with the idea that these early trials have complete side effects and have an extreme negative on the like marginalized low socioeconomic stakeholder itself. Although they wanted to bring to you in the idea at first that there's these marginalized stakeholders, that these low socioeconomic stakeholders were really important, that it was really quick to give them the vaccine because you know they have a day-to-day job, all they need is to be able to get better soon and immediately go back to work. Why is this a terrible mischaracterization on their side of the house? First of all, these low socioeconomic communities are going to be taken advantage of, and they have been taken advantage of when we've given you the example of Kenya and the birth control. They don't know the better. It is complete asymmetric information where they don't fully understand the risks of taking basically an unregulated, fully developed drug. This could have serious negative flow-on effects to them, and it has. It means that first of all, if they get sick, and they most likely will, they're not even going to be able to go back to work. They're going to have critical health issues that go down further the line. What does this look like? Well, wider and more broadly, it means that the entire society is negatively affected because people can't go to work even longer. People are more negatively affected. The young are going to be negatively affected. This means like generational trauma across the entire society, and you simply can't allow that. Why doesn't AF just realize that there's complete asymmetric information for these low socioeconomic communities? These developing nations, as they characterize, are extremely desperate. What they just want is a quick solution. But what they don't understand is that these large pharmaceutical companies are willing to do whatever it takes to make a quick buck off them. That includes risking their lives by giving them untested drugs that could possibly give them extreme critical conditions far worse than what they thought they were going to receive. And this is why we think that on our side of the house, we win this point of clash. Because first of all, we get more qualitative drugs and qualitative medication on our side of the house, purely because we spend maybe a year more just making sure, just testing, making sure that it gets from 90 to 99%, ensuring that as few people have to suffer as possible. We're dealing with the lives of people. You can't just gamble away because you think there's a chance that they could be better affected in this situation. We refuse to gamble the lives of millions of people, and we refuse to accept the idea that low socioeconomic stakeholders are going to be taken advantage of. So, the second point of clash, will there actually be more efficiency? What have they told us? They told us that scientists are going to be more efficient in their response because the pressure is going to help them. First of all, pressure might not always be in this sort of situation. I mean, imagine if you had a deadline, right? When you're told that that deadline is pushed forward, your first instinct isn't always to just immediately start grinding so that you're prepared for that new deadline. Your first reaction is just, okay, I'm just going to take a relaxer, I'm going to take a breather, because now like the pressure is eased off. They're not going to be immediately incentivized to go bang, 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 I need to work really fast because the deadline is pushed back a bit further away, that the restrictions are eased. This is what they're going to get on their side of the house. Now, furthermore, let's take them at their best. Let's assume that there is pressure in this scenario. A few responses here. First of all, pressure is not always going to be the answer. Why is this? Historically, people who work under pressure don't actually do their best. What does this look like? At first, it looks like people who are extremely bad at time management. They don't know how to act under pressure. When they're being told constantly that millions of lives are at stake, they may be able to cut corners, they may be able to have inefficiencies in how they work. Second of all, this looks like people completely just quitting their jobs because they can't handle this sort of pressure. Because so many people, like doctors, like nurses, they work extremely long hours, and this applies same to these scientists who work on the vaccines. They won't be able to handle this sort of immense pressure when you tell them, we need this really quickly, we need this even at a not efficient rate, at a not qualitative state. They're going to be like pushed so far that they're just going to quit. This is going to look like less researchers, and ultimately a slower output of vaccines and medication. Okay, second of all, they're more likely to cut costs because they want to be able to get it faster. What does this look like? They talked about the idea of competition. Well, we fully agree with this. When you make the restrictions ease, it means that everybody knows this. It means that everybody is going to work harder, but not in the good way. Pfizer knows that other companies are also going to be able to reach that quick deadline of 90%. It means that they're going to cut costs. It means they're going to do unethical research in order to meet that goal, instead of actually doing qualitative research where they ensure that the public benefit is at the most. They rely on marginal social benefit that doesn't even exist. What we look at is the individual stakeholder, and that leads to society benefiting in the future. Okay, now they've also brought in this idea that research is going to be better as a whole. Why is this not true? First of all, we want to be able to subsidize and target education from the beginning, instead of trying to subsidize researchers right at the end. This is already too late. If we make education better and subsidize it there, and ensuring that the society that we live in is generally more intelligent, generally more educated, that means later on the research can be better, not just dumping money on researchers who don't even know what to do with it at that point. Second of all, lowering it means that the incentive just keeps getting lower and lower. What does this look like? First of all, it's 90%. Second, it's 80%. Then it's 60%, and at some point, it's 10%. At this point, people are going to be extremely negatively affected. The moment we let the restrictions ease is the moment it tells our society that we're too weak. It tells them that restrictions can be broken again and again and again until it is nothing, until our society is relying on completely untested and unregulated drugs. Stand with side negating.